Bugatti Type 57. The Bugatti Type 57 and later variants, including the famous Atlantic and Adelante, was a Grand Tourer car built from 1934 through 1940. It was an entirely new design created by Jean Bugatti, son of founder Ettore. A total of 710 Type 57s were produced. Type 57s used a twin-cam 3257cc engine based on that of the Type 49 but heavily modified by Jean Bugatti, unlike the single-cam engines of the Type 49 and earlier models. The engines of the Type 51 used bevel gears at the front of the engine to transmit power from the crankshaft, whereas the Type 57 used a train of spur gears at the rear of the engine, with fiber gear wheels on the camshafts to achieve more silence in operation. There were two basic variants of the Type 57 car. The original Type 57. The lowered Type 57S/SC. The Type 57 chassis and engine was revived in 1951 as the Bugatti Type 101. A rediscovered Type 57 sold for €3.4 million at auction on February 7, 2009 at a motor show in Paris. Type 57. The original Type 57 was a touring car model produced from 1934 through 1940. It used the 3.3 liters, 3,257cc, 198 cubic inches, engine from the Type 59 Grand Prix cars, producing 135 horsepower, 100 kilowatts. Top speed was 153 kilometers per hour, 95 miles per hour. It rode on a 3,302 millimeters, 130 in, wheelbase and had a 1,349 millimeters, 53 in, wide track. Road-going versions weighed about 950 kilograms, 2,090 pounds. Hydraulic brakes replaced the cable-operated units in 1938, a modification Ettore Bugatti hotly contested. 630 examples were produced. The original road-going Type 57 included a smaller version of the Royale square-bottom horseshoe grille. The sides of the engine compartment were covered with thermostatically controlled shutters. It was a tall car, contrary to the tastes of the time. Dimensions. Wheelbase, 3,302 millimeters, 130 in track, 1,349 millimeters, 53 in weight, 950 kilograms, 2,090 pounds. Type 57T. The tuned Type 57T pushed the performance of the basic Type 57. It was capable of reaching 185 kilometers per hour, 115 miles per hour. Type 57C. A Type 57C racing car was built from 1937 through 1940, with about 96 produced. It shared the 3.3 liters engine from the road-going Type 57 but produced 160 horsepower, 119 kilowatts, with a Roots Type supercharger fitted. Type 57S/SC. The Type 57S/SC variants are some of the most iconic Bugatti cars. The S stood for service, lowered, and the C for compressor, a supercharger introduced by Bugatti as a result of customers' desire for increased power. It included a V-shaped dip at the bottom of the radiator and mesh grills on either side of the engine compartment. Lowering the car was a major undertaking. The rear axle now passed through the rear frame rather than riding under it, and a dry sump lubrication system was required to fit the engine under the new low hood. The 57S had a nearly independent suspension in front, though Ettore despised that notion. Just 43 service cars and only 2 supercharged Type 57 SCs were originally manufactured. But most 57S owners wanted the additional power afforded by the blower. Therefore, most of the original Type 57S cars returned to Molsheim for the installation of a supercharger, pushing output from 175 horsepower, 130 kilowatts, to 200 horsepower, 150 kilowatts, and 190 kilometers per hour, 120 miles per hour. Dimensions. Wheelbase, 2,979 millimeters, 117 in track, 1,349 millimeters, 53 in weight, 950 kilograms, 2,090 pounds. Type 57S/SC Aerolithe concept and Atlantic production cars. The Type 57S Atlantic body featured flowing coupe lines with a pronounced dorsal seam running from the front to the back end of the vehicle. It was based on the 1935 Aerolithe concept car designed by Jean Bugatti, which was built on a prototype chassis, more specifically, a standard Type 57 chassis shortened to what would eventually become the Type 57S chassis. Like the Type 59 Grand Prix car, the Aerolithe used Electron composite for its body panels, known for being a very lightweight and durable material, but also for being extremely flammable when exposed to high temperatures. Therefore, being unable to weld the body panels, the engineers riveted them externally, a technique frequently used in the aviation industry, thus creating the signature seam. However, the production Atlantics, just 4 built, used plain aluminum, but the dorsal seams were retained for style and have led to the car's present fame. 3 of the original 4 Atlantics are known to survive, and each had been restored to its former glory. 2 of them have been honored with Best of Show awards at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance in 1990 and 2003, respectively. The model was named in honor of Jean Bugatti's friend, French pilot Jean Mermoz, one of the pioneers in aviation and the first to cross the South Atlantic by air. Unfortunately, in December 1936, he and his crew crashed into the Atlantic Ocean after a supposed engine failure. Originally, the Atlantic model was named Coupe Aero after its predecessor, the Type 57 Aerolife. The first 2 production units already bore that name, but after hearing the tragic news, Jean Bugatti commissioned to change the name of the model to Atlantic Coupe. Bugatti's past during the pre-war and World War II era is often considered as being somewhat imprecise. Therefore, initially, it was believed that only 3 Atlantic cars were manufactured, as the popular belief hinged on the idea of number 57,453, Second Atlantic, and number 57,473, Third Atlantic, being the same car, for they were closely related in terms of production date and both being painted black by the Bugatti factory. However, in 2004, renowned Bugatti historian Pierre-Yves Logier confirmed their separate identities, a research thoroughly comprised in his book entitled Bugatti, Les 57 Sport, along with an elaborate illustration of each vehicle's past.